All right, welcome back, free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, and denominations, orientations as well. My name is Dave, and I am the Radical Independent, and I guess so are you if you're watching this channel. Tulsi Gabbard, in a tweet here, I don't see deplorables, I see fellow Americans worthy of respect, even when we disagree strongly. I will restore a White House with compassion and respect for all, regardless of race, religion, orientation, gender, or political affiliation. Oh no, that last one, right? Political affiliation? Really, Tulsi? Okay, so the reason I did that little thing there and said that is because I think the neo-progressives are bailing on Tulsi Gabbard at an accelerated rate. Some have picked Bernie Sanders as their candidate. Others have picked Elizabeth Warren. And then the neo-libs have Mayor Pete. They got Joe Biden in there still. So really the splitting of the vote has begun, at least from the media standpoint. And the hostility toward Tulsi Gabbard, which has been completely unwarranted and ridiculous. And by the way, there are big smears from the neoliberals. There are what I call jabs and inferences that come from the neo-progressives, which at times almost seem worse because the neo-libs do almost like cartoon comedy when they're saying, well, you know, she's being groomed by the Russians and, oh, she didn't say, she never denied it, she never publicly said she wasn't being groomed. That's cartoonish. But some of these neo-progressives, where they with a straight face say, hey, Bernie, he's the guy who's been the most consistent and really strong on foreign policy. And then, you know, the duct tape that you had secured here lets go and brain matter starts, you know, flying out. Sorry for the graphic nature of that, but there are moments where I just, like I said on Twitter the other day, you know, I'm a certain age, I have a family, I enjoy family time, I enjoy my life to some degree. I understand our country is in trouble. We're printing money again in order to grease the financial markets. There's a video, Jimmy Dore, you got to see it. Dylan Ratigan, I think the guy's name is. He's on there, and again, secure the duct tape because they'll give money to financial institutions. They make it themselves. They monetize it. They bail themselves out. That's how they do it. They monetize their own debts. So you got Tulsi Gabbard here appealing to other groups. And this, I should have noticed in this debate, she pivoted. She knows that there is a plateau, a threshold that I believe she's hit on the left. She can't go too much higher on the left because of all the divvying I told you about who's picking what candidate. You've got certain neo-progressive media outlets that they're wearing the Bernie shirt underneath their their sport jacket. They're trying to look all cool. Got the Bernie shirt, little rainbow on there, or they're, I don't know. They're the other people that just have, Bernie Sanders always in a picture behind them. There's a book by Bernie Sanders. It's on their shelf. I like Bernie a lot. I do. I like him a lot. But what I'm saying is they've all kind of made their decision, and the whole, we'll put up with Tulsi for a while, but at a certain point, we're going to have to let her go. And they're starting to let her go. So rather than quit, which if you're a Tulsi Gabbard fan, if you're a supporter like me, and you see her as the best candidate who's ever run for president, at least in my lifetime, and maybe in the last 50 years, seriously. I mean, her qualifications, her resume, I dare you to try what? Because she's not all about the financial markets. She's not Mitt Romney. She hasn't screwed people at a large company, so she's not qualified to understand money. That's funny. Tulsi Gabbard, I think, needs to and is starting to pivot towards Trump voters. A lot of these Trump voters, by the way, some of them voted for Obama. Some of them were independent. Some of them never voted before. So this idea that, all these deplorables are just not worth our time, I can't I can't accept these people in my club because if they liked Trump, then they're obviously a racist and a bigot and some kind of phobe, and we've got to keep hammering that home, and it's just going to alienate more people. People are going to stay home. What I'm starting to see is there's an opening for Trump because there's so much discord over in the Democratic field and through all these commentators and blogs and Twitter and so forth that you start to think to yourself, it's all imploding in on itself. I said that the other day. I said these neoprogs are like eating themselves. They're having themselves for lunch. It's just, and so I think the strategy moving forward, if I'm an advisor to Tulsi Gabbard, and I'm not, I'm just a commentator, and I would say this to Tulsi fans as well, I'd say, you need to talk to your friends that like Trump. You need to talk to independents. You need to talk to people who voted for Jill Stein last time around. You need everybody on Deplorable 2.0. That's what you need. And we can do this. We could still do it. 15 open primary states, I believe. A lot of states you can still change party affiliation. I know it's going to be hard for some people, especially if they're registered as a Republican, to change their affiliation to Democrat. But this is the future, folks. This is the campaign from here on out. And you know what? It can be done. It can be done. There's a level of enthusiasm that Tulsi Gabbard has in her campaign that's palpable, that's real, that a lot of these other candidacies don't seem to have. Bernie, yes, he's got major enthusiasm. Everybody else, not so sure. Elizabeth Warren. So really, if you look at the two most enthusiastic campaigns, it would go Sanders and Gabbard. And I think Tulsi Gabbard has a chance to not just take voters from maybe, all the independents and everything else that I was talking about, people who could come over and register as a Democrat. But I think maybe even some Bernie fans who aren't 100% sure that Bernie is the right man at the right time for this job. I'm not going to talk about, how old Bernie is. I know he's 78. He had a heart attack, and, issues of his health will come up in a general election campaign if he were to be the nominee against Donald Trump. And the media, they're going to do it to him. Many in the media would secretly support Trump over Sanders. We heard Donnie Deutsch from MSNBC more or less say that. He couldn't vote for Bernie Sanders. Tulsi Gabbard, on the other hand, she can overcome all the media elites that aren't going to vote for her because guess what? So many other people who've never voted before and a lot of people who maybe were thinking about voting for someone else or maybe even voting for Trump again, they're going to come over and support Tulsi Gabbard for president. So, again, I think Tulsi Gabbard has a real shot at this still, and I think her strategy is going to shift. I think it's this tweet and the fact that she said this in a debate is her pivot moment where she says, look, I think I've maxed out my support over here, and now I'm getting all of this bickering and infighting about what I believe and if my Medicare plan is better or not better than Bernie Sanders' plan, and the Bernie people throwing shade all over the place at Tulsi. And I think the frustration for Tulsi is a lot of these Bernie people are basically saying, Tulsi, get out of the way. Just get out of the way so Bernie can have the nomination. Just get out. Because if all of your support went over to Bernie, Bernie would be in first place right now. And this is the same mentality that, don't vote for Jill Stein because, you're going to elect Donald Trump. And even though Hillary Clinton was a lousy, and by the way, I'm not comparing Hillary to Bernie, but there are some similarities. Look, Bernie went out and campaigned for Hillary Clinton. All right? And he's going to have a hard time living that down. His supporters, they tend to not look at that. They look past that. And that's good for them. But they don't seem to look past some of the minor indiscretions that they believe Tulsi Gabbard has committed, even though I would say that Bernie support of Hillary, I can't think of anything Tulsi Gabbard has said or done recently, even the last 4 or 5 years since she's been elected to Congress. I can't see anything remotely close to going out and actively campaigning for the queen of the warmongers, as Tulsi calls her. So, libertarians, Green Party people, anybody, former Trumpers, people that are currently maybe for Trump but maybe want some kind of economic relief out there, Tulsi Gabbard, she's your candidate. And I think that's where this campaign is going to go. Maybe I'm wrong, but we shall see. All right, I'm done. Again, thanks for supporting me via Patreon, PayPal. Got some real large PayPal donations the last couple of days. You guys are keeping this channel going because you know what? We were heavily demonetized last week, and I'm hoping that things get better this week. I'm sure this video talking about deplorables is not going to be helpful, and the algorithm will probably go hog wild. So let's hope it doesn't happen, but there's a good chance it will. All right, folks. See you soon.